Unfortunately, I have to start this video with sad news because 5 people died during an attempted crossing of the English Channel from France to Great Britain. And the crossing is particularly dangerous in winter. Those 5 people died and 2 others were injured while trying to cross the English Channel from France to Great Britain. And this was announced by the French Maritime Prefecture. 32 other people in distress were brought to safety by the Coast Guard. According to initial findings, a boat carrying migrants got into trouble in the dark. A French Navy helicopter and several rescue ships were involved in the search and rescue operation. It was said that the dead were recovered from the sea or washed up on the beach. Rescue workers found one of the injured people unconscious on the shore near the beach in the northern French town of Wimereux. He was taken to a hospital. The other was found severely hypothermic. The water temperature in the English Channel is currently only around 9 degrees Celsius. And this means that anyone attempting to cross the English Channel is exposing themselves to great risks. And that also came as a warning from the Maritime Prefecture. People seeking protection repeatedly cross the English Channel in small inflatable boats. The crossing is dangerous, especially because the inlet is used by many large ships and people keep losing their lives there. But there are a number of factors that contribute to the increasing number of people crossing the English Channel in small boats, even if it was less on the short notice. The UK is often seen as a safe and prosperous country with a strong welfare system, and this perception is often reinforced by news reports and social media, which can make the UK seem like an attractive destination for people fleeing war, persecution or poverty. And don't forget the language. More people speak English than any other European language. And there are very few safe and legal ways for people to reach the UK, especially if they are fleeing from conflict zones or authoritarian regimes. And this can force people to take dangerous and irregular routes, such as crossing the English Channel in small boats. The number of people displaced by conflict and persecution has also been rising in recent years, and this is putting more pressure on the existing asylum system. This can make it even more difficult for people to find safe and legal ways to reach the UK. The rise in the number of people crossing the English Channel in small boats has also been linked to the growth of smuggling networks, so traffickers. And these networks exploit vulnerable people, charging them large sums of money for the dangerous journey. In addition to these general factors, there are also a number of specific factors that contribute to the number of people crossing from France to the UK in the last years. The last year I talk about later. Because the English Channel is only about 21 miles wide at its narrowest point, which makes it a relatively easy crossing for small boats. The strong currents in the English Channel can make the crossing dangerous, though, but they can also make it more difficult for the authorities to intercept small boats. The French authorities have only limited resources to patrol the coastline and intercept small boats, which makes it easier for people to attempt these crossings. The British government has taken a number of steps in recent years to try to reduce the number of people crossing the English Channel in small boats. For example, the British government has increased the number of border force officers patrolling the coastline in an attempt to intercept small boats before they reach the UK. And the British government is working with the French authorities to try to disrupt the smuggling networks that are facilitating the crossing. The British government has made it more difficult for people to claim asylum if they arrive in the UK without permission, in an attempt to deter people from making the crossing. But the number of people crossing the English Channel in small boats reached a record high in 2022 with over 46,000 people making the perilous journey. However, the number of crossings declined in the first half of 2023, with around 11,500 people detected crossing the channel in this period. And this represents a 10% decrease compared to the first half of 2022. And there are a number of factors that may have contributed to this decline. In 2023, the UK and French governments stepped up their efforts to collaborate on preventing small boat crossings, and this included sharing intelligence, increasing joint patrols, and deploying more resources to intercept boats before they reach the UK. And not to forget, the UK government introduced the Nationality and Borders Act in 2022. And this act introduced a number of measures aimed at deterring people from crossing the channel in small boats, such as making it more difficult to claim asylum if they arrive in the UK without permission. The courts are still on that, though. The economic and political situation in some of the countries of origin of people crossing the channel has also been a factor in the decline of the crossings. For example, the economic situation in Iran has improved in recent years, which may have reduced the number of people feeling the need to leave the country. And despite the decline in crossings in 2023, it is still too early to say whether this trend will continue in the long run. The number of crossings is likely to fluctuate depending on a number of factors, and one we shouldn't forget, and that's the weather conditions, but also the availability of smugglers and the perception of the UK as a safe haven. The issue of small boats crossing is a complex and a challenging one, and there is no easy solution, and any measures taken to address the issue need to be carefully considered and balanced against the rights and safety of those seeking asylum. And if you want to know more about Brexit or UK politics, the next video is right here in the end screen. I'll see you there. I'll be back.